Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, Get on Board with Take Me Fishing. My name is Joanne Martonic. I'm the Senior State Marketing Manager, and I'll go through some housekeeping items before we begin the webinar. So all phones will be kept on mute throughout the duration of the webinar. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation, and you can ask questions at that time by using the Q&A box on the right side of your screen. If you do not see that box, you may need to expand the settings by clicking the little red arrow at the top right of the screen. Or if you have a question during the webinar, please write it in the Q&A box and we will then address it at the end. We will read all questions out loud and address them with the group. A copy of the slides along with a recording of the presentation will be posted to the website following the webinar, and we will send you an email when all these materials are available for download. Before you exit the webinar, please take the time to fill out the survey that will pop up at the end. These questions will help us plan future webinars and assess how we can better assist you in your marketing efforts. So we really appreciate your feedback on today's webinar. Thank you all again for attending the Get on Board with Take Me Fishing webinar. I'll now pass it over to Frank Peterson, our BFF's President and CEO, to get things started.
Thanks, Joanne. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to today's Get on Board campaign webinar, a joint venture with the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation, NMMA, MRAA, and ASA. Thank you all for taking the time today to attend this very important session. The COVID-19 pandemic has altered the way we do business. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Fishing and boating, however, should be thankful for the current uptick in participation. We are among the few industries that are doing well during this pandemic. Before we get started, I have three thoughts that I want us to all think about as we continue to thrive this year in this current environment. First one is recreate responsibly. As we go through this presentation today, there are many pieces that you can utilize in your local marketing. But I would ask you all to pay attention to what is going on the ground in your local communities to make sure that our message is still appropriate for the times. We have been spending extra time promoting this recreate responsibly message based on some of the images we've seen over the past couple of weeks since the 4th of July holiday. This community should be part of the solution to allow people to relieve stress and enjoy the outdoors and not be part of the problem of potentially spreading this pandemic. So again, recreate responsibly, keep in mind what's going on the ground, and I think we'll continue to thrive as a business. My second point is around inclusivity. On the screen, you see RBFF's vision statement. And part of that vision statement is that we want to make sure that we spread the joys of fishing and boating to all ages, genders, and cultures. And as you'll see as we go through the campaign, we've tried to do that with our imagery. This is extremely important as the face of America continues to change. This has been a cornerstone of what we've been doing at RBFF for the last 14 years. And we have one simple mantra here, that the water is open to everyone. And let's keep that in mind as we move forward. The third point I want to make is around the customer experience. Right now, we are in the midst of what I would call for our industry a perfect storm. One of the big barriers to fishing and boating has always been time. And during this pandemic, with people being able to telework, people seem to have more time to do things. People also have less activities to choose from for themselves and their families. And during this pandemic, people have needed a way to relax, relieve the stress, get control of their lives. And our activities of fishing and boating have been foremost in helping them gain that sanity. But our challenge is, as we move forward, is what are going to be our plans to retain these new customers that we're gathering in this year. Historically, we know we lose a very high percentage of our new participants every year. And I'm hopeful that we can do everything we can from simplifying license systems to simplifying purchases to be more in tune with what customers need, to make sure they have as good experience as possible so that we continue to grow the sport, keep these new customers, and make sure that everyone really gets to enjoy the benefits of fishing and boating. So just to let you know that RBFF, NMMA, MRAA, ASA, and others are already working on ideas and strategies to make sure that retention becomes a bigger part of our toolkit. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Rachel Piacenza, Director of Marketing, to start to take you through the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. The agenda today for our webinar, we'll start off with fishing participation, just trends that we're seeing nationally as well as among key audience segments. Second, consumer insights. And third and fourth, I'll couple these together. Hopefully while you're here and listening with us in today, our Get On Board campaign, as well as our campaign toolkit, where you're able to go in and customize assets for your various organizations. All right, so let's first start off with a little bit of fishing participation. Where are we sitting in terms of national participation? We are just a tad over 50 million anglers at 50.1 million in 2019, which means we have just over 50 million Americans aged 6+ participated in fishing in 2019. As you can see from the graph as well, these numbers keep growing year over year since 2015. These numbers specifically come from an annual participation study that we conduct with the Outdoor Foundation each year. And we're releasing this year's special report on fishing this week during the ICAST show. So you can check our website out for more information, takemefishing.org, and it is under the corporate section of our website. Additionally, we're seeing strong gains among key segments. Newcomers are up 3.1 million, up from 3 million the year before. Hispanic remains steady at 4.4 million. Youth numbers are down slightly, but they are strong in terms of a percentage of the population. Female participation, up to 17.9 million, up from 17.7 last year. So all these are great numbers. We're seeing gains in a lot of these key segments that we identify each year. We do have some challenges that we're looking into a little bit closer. Retention still remains an issue each year. Our number of lapsed anglers climbed from 9.3 million, and it was 9.1 last year. So we're seeing a few more people lapse out of the sport. Yet, despite some of these retention challenges, we have the 3.1 new who have come into the sport. We reactivate a few anglers each year, but we have 9.3 million that we lose. So despite all this churn, overall participation is still up and growing each year. So things are sitting pretty good in terms of participation, but what will the rest of 2020 hold, especially amid a lot of the national unrest, anxiety, and stress that we're all seem to be feeling lately? Beginning earlier this year, RBFF received weekly consumer insights to monitor the pulse of the American consumer and provide a window into the current consumer mindset to help navigate the changing landscape. We use these insights to support changes in our national marketing campaign in terms of timing and messaging, as our goal was to determine what would resonate with the current times and the current consumer. We've highlighted a few examples on the following slides that were very instrumental in the development of our Get On Board campaign. And I should also note here that all insights we received each week can be found in our newsroom. So we're only going to relay a couple here, but we have, I would say, 5 or 6 more blogs of insights if you go to news.takemefishing.org/blog. Over the last few months, we've been carefully watching and analyzing consumer insights, and these are the ones that really drove the development of our Get On Board campaign. Vacation planning is up nearly 10 percentage points at 33%, and venturing out is correlated with distance and familiarity. And this is suggesting that road trips, close to home road trips over long flights, and nature and wilderness adventures over urban destinations to really be the trend this summer, and that's definitely what we're seeing. So what does this all mean? Consider promoting local fishing and boating opportunities in your community. Now, this is something that probably many of you have already done, but here's numbers that we're really seeing that are really trying to hit this home. Couple gear and equipment purchases as a means to make family memories close to home. So give that family or give that consumer everything they need to get started fishing and boating. Spotlight here is a little bit on health and wellness. With all the extra time, consumers are looking to fill it with physical exercise to stimulate the mind and body. And fishing and boating provide that mental and physical stimulation. In terms of health and diet and sense of control, let's control what we can these days. 42% of Americans are consuming more fresh food and plan on increasing or maintaining it in the future. 70% are eating more home-cooked meals, and of that 70, 91% plan to increase that number. So potentially consider here a lake or water-to-table option that fishing and boating can fulfill. Another interesting stat, and this is an exciting one, nearly 1 in 5 non-participants have become more likely to try fishing during the pandemic. Now, this one might seem small, when you look at it, but that's 20% of people who don't participate that are thinking of joining the sport. So if you look at that in terms of the 328 million people in this country, that equates to about 50 million plus people who are saying that they would like to try fishing who don't currently participate in the sport. In modifying our campaign strategically, here's what we consider to be our key campaign messages or reasons to believe. The first is people are longing for a return to the outdoors. The outdoors is a good solution for the stress and tension we're all experiencing today. And the outdoors is really the remedy that we all need. So with all these insights in our pocket, a Get On Board campaign was created. As COVID has continued to wear on Americans' mental health, Take Me Fishing joined forces with Discover Boating for a joint campaign called Get On Board, an effort to raise awareness among the wellness benefits of both fishing and boating. According to our recently released special report on fishing coming out this week during ICAST, relaxing and unwinding are the #1 experiences associated with the activity of fishing. The report also found that nearly 1 in 3 participants said the best thing about fishing is getting away from the usual demands of life.
So we will now go ahead and play the PSA for you. Please note that the sound for the video will come out of your computer speakers. So even if you've called in, you may need to turn the sound up on your computer. Also, the quality of the video might depend on your internet speed, so we will put a link to the PSA in the chat box so that you can watch it on your own later if the video quality does not work well for you right now.
I'll show you how to unwind.
Come on, babe, let's go outside and take the boat out for a ride. I'm ready, I don't wanna wait. Cause the only time I'm feeling free is when I got that ocean breeze, so kicking it out on the lake.
Get on board.
Got the sunshine and the short line, it's the good life.
Get on board. Get on board.
Have a good time, casting that line, it's a good life.
Get on board. Get on board. Get on board.
All right, now I'll turn that back over to Rachel.
Our Take Me Fishing campaign that we had planned before COVID, unfortunately, was tone deaf to the current situation. So we pivoted a bit and put this campaign together in less than a month's time. We did consumer test the concept to ensure it would resonate with our target audience, and here's what we found. 93% said the message felt appropriate for the current times. 95% felt motivated to go fishing or boating. 97% were inspired by the music to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. So this gave us the ammunition and the green light we needed to move forward. The heart of our campaign is a tag team 30-second PSA spot running on stations across the country. And to date, we have the following details on the PSA spot. We have 2,335 airings nationally on 90 stations, and we have just over $315,000 of in-kind value thus far. And we launched the campaign just about a month ago on June 15th. In addition to this 30-second tag team PSA, Take Me Fishing created a 30-second branded spot to appeal to the family audience, female audience, as well as a partner toolkit anyone can access with the opportunity to customize assets related to the campaign. And this is what Joanne is going to go into detail in a little bit here about. Discover Boating also created a 30-second branded family spot for their paid media opportunities, as well as a toolkit access for their NMMA member organizations through MRAA. And we also created some Take Me Fishing digital assets, and those will be running on our media buy in 2020. Our Take Me Fishing family video to date has 4.8 million views since launching on 6/15. And now finally, some happy news. I know every time we turn the news on or see an article, it's usually not the happiest. But we are seeing some really nice content related to fishing lately, which really motivates us and gives us the confidence in the timing of our campaign. What you see up here on the screen is the Today Show. That was a feature on June 26th, How Fishing Became the Pandemic's Hottest Sport. Harry Smith Goes to the Lake. So everyone's talking, smiling, laughing, likely sharing fishing stories and memories that I think are kind of helping us get through these times. A couple Washington Post article headlines that I didn't put up on the screen, but I think are noteworthy to mention. On July 2nd, an article was released called When the World Gets Too Loud, It's Time to Go Fishing. And then on July 7th, Casting About for a Pandemic-Friendly Pastime, 8 Reasons to Consider Fly Fishing. So with that, we provided a little bit about the campaign, what we're seeing in terms of consumer marketing, in terms of insights and trends. With that, I will turn it over to Joanne Martonic, our Senior Manager of State Marketing, to go into the campaign toolkit.
Great, thank you very much, Rachel. So from that PSA, we created digital banners and other resources that we put together into a toolkit to help all of our state and industry partners utilize these resources to help recruit, retain, and reactivate anglers and boaters. So using this toolkit can help your organization stay relevant to the current situation, since the messaging was proven to resonate with our target audiences. We also made the toolkit so we can co-brand it with your logo and also even change the photo so it's tailored more specifically to your state or your audience. Utilizing these brand new resources and even sharing the PSA will also help your organization stand out and among all the information out there that consumers are being constantly bombarded with. So we welcome you to join the Get On Board in the Water is Open movement. State agencies and fishing industry groups can access the toolkit on our BFFOnDemand.com to find the PSA and other resources. Boating industry groups can access the toolkit on growboating.org to download and customize resources as well. So the BFF OnDemand Platform This toolkit allows you to download materials directly that you can use on your own, or you can also upload your logo directly to the platform for co-branding. You can contact the support team for assistance in co-branding or additional editing, and the boating industry can contact growboating.org. And as Frank mentioned earlier, you can use these tools as you see fit and what works with your community and the current situation at hand. And you may also want to use the hashtag Recreate Responsibly as well to make sure everyone stays safe. When you go to rbffondemand.com, you will be asked to either log in or register for a free account. If you work for a state fish and wildlife agency, we've actually already created a username and password for your state, so you can contact me, Joanne Martonic, for the login information if you do not already have it. Industry partners, you will need to register for a login, and there's a register button just to the right of the login button. So fill out your information and you'll be notified when your registration is approved. For members of the boating industry, for specialized assets and approach, you can go to growboating.org. All resources are available to everybody. So once logged in, you can access all of the resources available for the Get On Board campaign, including the usage guidelines. We highly encourage you to review the usage guidelines, which gives you details on all the do's and don'ts of the campaign. There are stock banner ads in the toolkit that can be downloaded directly. Here are a few examples with various images, sizes, and messaging. There's a download link, so you can download these directly from the site and use as is or edit the picture on your own if you need. We also have co-brandable assets with Take Me Fishing and Discover Boating that you can add your logo to. There is room at the bottom right for your logo to be added. You can download these as is by adding them to your cart and checking out, or you can upload your logo to the site so that the BFF OnDemand team can assist in co-branding for you if you need any assistance. To upload your logo, you'll need to click on the drop-down box called Imprint, which is circled in red on the right, and then follow the steps. The team will add your logo to the ad and connect with you once it's ready. Once you upload your logo once, that's all that's needed to then be able to add it easily to all the co-brandable resources available. Here are a few more examples of co-brandable assets with different images and messaging. We also have a lot of social media posts. And we've seen most of our partners utilizing social media to share the campaign. Most of these are static, but we actually do have some videos that you can easily use for Instagram and Facebook stories. Some of these on the slides are actually new. We just uploaded them to our BFF OnDemand platform recently. So if you have not logged in a few days, I encourage you to log back in so you can utilize these new images. The PSA we played earlier is also co-brandable. Again, just like all the other assets, you can download it directly, or you can work with the OnDemand team to help add your logo to it. So the co-branded PSA will have Take Me Fishing, Discover Boating, and your logo all together. We also have some resources and information that you can use to help talk about the campaign and or pitch the PSA. This includes a press release, a media pitch, and key messaging. So there are various places within these documents that you can insert your agency or company name and logo and tailor for your needs when you're talking about or utilizing the campaign. So I'd like to share a few examples. This first one on the left is from Keep America Fishing, and one on the right is from West Marine. While the campaign is very new, we are also very excited that we're seeing more and more groups utilizing the content. So with everyone using similar imagery and messaging, it'll really help to amplify the message that fishing and boating is still a fun and safe activity to participate in. On the left is an example from Michigan Boating Industries Association. And on the right, Iowa Department of Natural Resources actually utilized one of the banners in an email campaign they recently sent out about renewing your fishing license. So they used it a bit differently, which we are also excited for them to be able to do. Tailor-made is the example on the left, and as we mentioned previously, all of these assets can have an image swapped out. So the example on the right is from Grady White. They use the messaging and their asset, but they swapped it out for one of their images that better suited their needs. Here are two more examples from state agencies. The one on the left is from Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, and this tweet received over 3,400 impressions. The video is actually viewed over 1,800 times. The post on the right is from Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and that reached almost 24,000 people. So these and several other state agencies have mentioned that they appreciate the toolkit. It's helpful for them to have free, easy new content to share with consumers. So we hope you all find it easy and useful as well. Feel free to share this toolkit with your partners and organizations. Groups like tourism agencies and local partners and companies may benefit from this as well.
Hi, Joanne, thank you. Just want to emphasize one thing. You know, many of you who've heard me before, you often hear me say that everybody thinks their baby's the cutest, and with 2 new grandkids, I can tell you that's exactly the truth. But the whole idea behind this campaign is, and why we want everyone to utilize it, I think there's strength in us all coming together as different communities under one message. I think it'll have more impact with consumers. Consumers are ready for this type of information. And I think if we do it in a coordinated effort together, using the Get On Board assets, talking about the water being open, talking about recreating responsibly, we can amplify the message far beyond what RBFF or Discover Boating could do themselves. It's collectively bringing the entire fishing and boating industry around one campaign, one message. I think it'll do a better job of reaching consumers, resonating with them, and creating more participants. So with that slight thought, I'd like to turn it back over to Joanne, who will talk about some more resources we have available for you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Frank. So everything I just went over is in the toolkit. However, we are never short of resources for people to use. So I'd like to go over a few more with you. We know here at RBFF that one of the best ways we can actively engage both new and existing anglers and boaters is to provide them with tools they need to get out on the water. And as Frank said, amplifying our messages and reducing barriers to participation throughout the industry and outside the industry is one way we can help. So to help break down barriers, RBFF has created a fishing license and boat registration website plugin and also a places to boat and fish map that can both be embedded on your website. The Take Me Fishing Places to Boat, Fish, and Map, it's embeddable and it's powered by FishBrain. It's a valuable tool for your site visitors to find places near them to recreate. Over 1.5 million people took advantage of the map resource on partner sites in 2019. Earlier in the webinar, Rachel mentioned the Harris Poll findings that helped us form the Get On Board campaign. The Harris Poll found that people are exploring more close to home, and that Americans are now nearly twice as likely to consider a car purchase than they were 5 weeks ago. Vacation planning is up nearly 10%, and we know that people are looking for places to go that are familiar and close to them. And road trips over long flights in nature and wilderness over urban destinations are a summer's trend. So with people choosing to stay close to home, the embeddable Places to Boat and Fish map can help your customers and website visitors find new places near them to explore. So this map will help them locate the best places to fish near them, places to launch a boat, local fishing spots. It can also help them plan can help them learn about species that can be caught in these bodies of water, as well as places to buy fishing gear, licenses, and equipment. And we also have a fishing license and boat registration website plugin, which is a free add-on designed to increase the number of licensed and registered anglers and boaters in your community and grow your customer base. So it actually connects customers with a single click from your website to exactly the right state agency webpage for them to purchase their license or boat registration. So more boaters and anglers means more funds for state agency conservation and education efforts, but also means more customers for fishing and boating businesses. Right now, people are more reluctant to go to stores and are limiting their shopping trips, so this plugin will help them easily find the information they need to make the purchase directly online rather than visiting a store. So far, in the first 6 months of 2020, this plugin has referred more people to license and registration pages than it did in all of 2019. So this shows that people are eager for this information. Right now, the plugin has been added to the websites of 115 companies, and we have a goal to reach 200. So if your organization does not have these tools on your website, you can visit the links on this slide and the previous slide. And links have also been placed in the chat box so you can access the map and the plugin directly. So for both the map and the plugin, we encourage you to think about your sphere of influence and send someone you know the code to embed these two resources. This could be your state tourism sites, related industry contacts, sponsors or partner companies you've worked with for events, or any other groups you think that would benefit from reaching this audience. Utilizing this information can help all of us increase participation in fishing and boating. So thank you for joining the webinar today. Here's contact information for the various things that we've gone over. You can contact Joanne Martonic for state agency questions and login information. Fishing industry partners can contact Rachel Oslander. Anyone can contact the BFF OnDemand team for assistance in editing the resources. And boating partners can contact growboating.org with any questions. So we'll now actually open the floor up to questions, and I have seen some come in, so I will read these out loud, and then the team will answer them. So the first question I have is, do you have the same campaign in Spanish?
The direct answer is no. And the reason we haven't done that at this point, number one, was time. We put together here in a month what normally takes us 4 or 5 months to do in a normal year. The second thing that we're finding is, in our research and engaging the Hispanic audience, is that the language preference is not as important as it was once we started down the Vamos a Pescar path. So we have been promoting to the Hispanic audiences in both English and Spanish, and find that the English portions are getting just as good, if not better, results than the in-language. So that was the reason why we didn't do it at this time.
Great, thanks, Frank.
That could be, this is Rachel, I will add, that could be an add-on we consider in future years, and one of the biggest changes I think we would make is just making sure it's culturally relevant with nuances specific to the Hispanic audience. I don't think we would change the language of the campaign in terms of the music at this point. But we just literally launched this campaign, so we'll have findings that we can use for future campaigns.
Great. One more question is, how are we promoting conservation of the environment at this time? I think as more people go out who might not be as used to picking up after themselves.
Well, that's why we've included the Recreate Responsibly message, and because we think it is important that if you look at that, one of the big portions of that are leave no trace. So make sure the place is better than when you got there. Overall, we think the overall increase in license sales and boat registrations will also have a financial impact on the amount of dollars that are generated for the conservation efforts that the states do.
Yep. Next question is, can you add more than one logo? If both partners or whoever wants to be added to it are all good with it, then that's fine. You may need to contact the on-demand team to help with spacing to get the logo, all of the logos on there. But that is fine with us.
Entirely up to you.
Next question is about the map, the embeddable map. How is the boat and fish map information collected? Who sends you that information, and how is that information maintained or how does it stay up to date?
You want me to take that one? And Rachel, if you want to chime in, you can chime in too. That's our other Rachel here at RBFF. Basically, the original data was compiled from a number of different sources, including just crawling state agency websites. The data is maintained through our partnership with FishBrain, and lately the data is added and maintained basically through customer-generated information. It's not always 100% perfect. We try to keep it maintained as best we can, but it comes from a variety of different sources, but mainly lately from customer-curated content.
Great, and I see there was a follow-up question to that, but I think Frank answered both of the questions, so unless he did not, I think we can move to the next. The only other question I see on here is the presentation available for download? It will be once we have the recording online. It'll be on our corporate site, but we will email all attendees to let you know when it's available to download. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and put it into the Q&A box on the right side of your screen. Doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. So if you do have any, you can use the contact information on the screen after this webinar ends. Other than that, I'd like to thank you all again for joining the webinar. As Frank mentioned, it's great if we can all work together to amplify the messaging and remember the hashtag Recreate Responsibly to make sure everyone's staying safe in your area. All right, thank you all very much, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.